Mahoney County Board of Elections is holding this special regular board meeting of the members of the board on Wednesday, August 16th at 3 p.m. in the boardroom of the Mahoney County Board of Elections office, 345 Oak Hill Avenue, Youngstown, Ohio. Would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Gilpesta.
Present.
Attorney Beatrice.
Present.
Ms. Barger.
Yes.
Ms. Renard.
Yes.
Would we now have the vice chairwoman lead us in a pledge of allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a moment of silence for our country, please. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the August 7th, 8th, 2023 adjourned regular board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion made by the vice chairwoman, Sandra Barger. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bob Arndt. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'd ask the director to call the roll, please.
Ms. Gilpesta.
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice.
Yes.
Ms. Barger.
Yes.
Ms. Renard.
Yes.
The chairman's report. The board must begin counting the cured provisional ballots by the 8th day of the election, August 16th, and remake absentee ballots in accordance with House Bill 458. Are we ready to do that?
We are, Chairman.
Then let's proceed.
Okay, we have the first rack of provisionals submitted. And how many total provisionals do we have this election?
In total, 551.
551. We have address changes, absentee sent, name and address change, name change, voted in own precinct, but they voted provisional, and voted registered in the state of Ohio, but moved into Mahoney County, and they're all valid.
So all of the ballots on the right are valid,
That's correct.
and they can be counted.
That's 423 of them, right?
Yes, okay.
All right.
On this rack, we do have some to look at. The first one, we have 3. The voters voted in the correct polling location but the wrong precinct. The directive says we count those. It's the wrong, right church, wrong pew.
Do we need a motion, or we can just count them?
Okay,
Those are the ones we're gonna remake, correct?
Yes,
correct.
So we need a motion?
yes.
I make a motion, we count the ballots that were right.
There was a motion made by Joyce Gilpesta. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Vice Chairwoman Sandra Barger. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Gilpesta.
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice.
Yes.
Ms. Barger.
Yes.
Ms. Renard.
I did not finish the
Yes.
motion. That's
I'm gonna
okay.
hit you over the head. All right, go ahead. What's next?
All right, the next pile is 66. The voter did not provide the proper ID at the polling location. They had 4 days to cure that last Saturday at noon. They did not come and cure it, so those are invalidated.
Correct.
Can we take them all as one motion?
Yes.
We have
5.
5 with those signatures. Thank you, Sandy. They didn't sign the provisional envelope. They were notified to come back in, and they didn't. We have 45 that were not registered.
They're registered now,
They're
right?
now registered. We have 4 voters that voted absentee, then came to a polling location, which is allowable. Their election day, their early vote counted, their 4 provisional did not count.
Okay.
And then we have 5 that voted in the wrong precinct and the wrong polling location.
All right, so the chair will now recognize a motion to the provisional ballots with no identification, no signature, not registered, voted twice and voted in the wrong precinct and wrong polling location. The chair will now entertain a motion. And Sandy, we'll put you on Instagram. Sandra Barger, do you have a motion?
Motion, yes.
All right, there's a motion made by Sandra Barger.
And that's 125 altogether, correct? Okay, they're invalid.
There's a motion made by Sandra Barger. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bob Art. Is there any discussion?
I have discussion. The ones that are in the correct polling location, wrong precinct, those do not have to be remade because there's only one issue on the ballot,
That's
correct?
correct. That is correct. Yeah, nothing to remake.
Right.
Any other questions? Hearing none, would the chairman, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Gilpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes.
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Ms. Rard?
Yes.
Our
Thanks,
compliments to you and thank you and your staff.
For being done so quick.
There was a lot for special election.
All right, we're, okay. I don't have anything else. I'd like the director's report now.
Well, I think the only thing we have to report
In the ball.
on my end is I think election day went very well, it went smooth, very few problems. Little voter confusion of where they go, which is not unusual. A lot of people showing up here to vote election day, we had to redirect them. Outside that, everything worked well, polls were open on time and closed on time.
Good. I want to congratulate the staff on another excellent job done. Thank you, staff. This was quite a monumental effort, and we have to do it all over again in 3 months. Isn't that just lovely? All right, is there any unfinished business?
I have none. Melissa?
None? New business, in-house election day policy.
We're gonna wait on that so that we can get right to the, we're gonna do that next meeting.
We're gonna do that next meeting.
Okay.
All right, the next thing on the agenda then is we have to certify the validity and sufficiency of the candidates' petitions in nonpartisan races and nominating petitions for the November 7th, 2023 general election. How bad is this gonna be?
It's gonna be pretty bad.
It's gonna be pretty bad. That's what I like to hear.
I think there should be a list in front of you who we need to certify.
It's second or third down.
All right, so the ones that are good, where are they?
How do you wanna, how do you wanna do this? Like, he's got them all sorted here, correct?
Correct.
So my suggestion is that the ballots that are good and sufficient, that we just take those all together. Does that sound like a good plan?
We can, but the list that's provided has all those names on there, right? So we have to, as we do these, cross these off. And then, so I think we do, I think it'd be easier to take the one, the other bad ones first. Because some. the
You're
board-
only saying that because I wanted to take the good ones first, just admit it.
Okay, I admit that too.
So change the way you wanna do it, and then he'll be.
How unusual. How unusual for me.
Okay. So
All right,
now
so-
we're gonna look at the,
So, do you have it in any kind of an order, or we just have to go down?
Tom, do
How do we
you
do it?
have these lists?
I do it right here.
Yeah.
Okay, we have, those are, I'm talking about the
he has a
candidates.
different list.
Right here. This was-
He has a different
This
list.
list.
Oh,
Pass it down.
Oh, I don't have this.
All right, so we wanna, wow, there's a lot here.
No, that was-
So do you wanna do each one individually? Is that how this board would like to do it? Do you wanna take them as a group? How do we wanna do this?
why don't we just look at, since they have them grouped, like, this is, circulator statement is
All
not
right, so you
filled
wanna
out.
just take those?
All of those,
All right,
and
that's a good idea. All right, so let's talk about the circulator statement is not filled out. And on those are Lori Applegarth, Springfield Fiscal Officer, Michael P. Cefaldi, Austin Trustee, Audrey Fox, Smith Fiscal Officer, Aaron O'Hara, Green Fiscal Officer, Scott Showalter, Smith Trustee, Tracy Lynn Sin, Western Reserve Schools, D. Smith, Youngstown Schools, Michael Squibbs, Western Reserve School, David Allen Tomeno, Milton Township Trustee, Robert Andre, or Andrea, I guess, Craig Beach council, number of signatures is not filled out, and Michelle Barrett, Goshen fiscal officer's number of signatures not filled out. So, in this group, the circulator statement is not filled out properly. Do we have a motion to disqualify these petitions?
So moved.
There's a motion made by Sandra Barger. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bob Arndt. Is there discussion? Hearing none, I'd ask the director to call the roll.
Ms. Calpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes.
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Orange?
Yes.
All right. Now, in the next group of petitions, we have nominating section. What is the problem with the nominating section?
We have Patrick Bundy,
Well, Patrick Bundy, Struthers School filled in at counter. Well, we know that's no good. Andrew J. Jesco, South Range Schools is not filled in, and Troy Poland Schools is not filled in, correct?
that's correct.
All right, and we have a motion to disqualify those
Is this
petitions.
the bottom statement of the, is this what you're talking about, the bottom statement
Yeah.
right before the signature?
So Patrick Bundy, he filled those in at the counter, right, Danny?
Yes.
Can't do that.
Yeah, that's Patrick Bundy's.
I suggest we just do them.
Okay.
Is there a motion on the nominating section for insufficiency of the nominating petitions? The chair will now entertain a motion.
So moved.
There is a motion made by Sandra Barger. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. Well, thank you, Joyce. So you're finally speaking up at the meeting. This is good. What are you upset about? Seconded by Joyce Kilpesta. Is there any discussion? All right. Hearing none. Would the director call the roll?
Ms. Calpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes.
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Orange?
Yes.
All right. Statement of candidacy. So,
We do have some different issues within these.
all right, so let's take these individually.
First one is Brenda Ryder. She failed to sign or date any of her petitions.
That's an easy one.
That's an easy one.
Can we have a motion to disqualify Brenda Ryder's Osstown trustee petition?
So moved.
There's a motion made by Sandra Barger. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bob Arndt. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Calpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice? Ms.
Yes.
Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Orange?
Yes.
All right, on Amy Wells, South Range, statement of candidacy is missing.
You missed
That's
Anthony.
right.
Anthony Nicardo, I'm sorry, Campfield Council is not signed.
That's correct. He dated it, but didn't sign it.
Is that a fatal flaw?
That is.
Is there a motion to disqualify his candidacy petition?
So moved.
All right, there's a motion made by Sandra Barger. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by member Joyce Kilpesta. Is there any discussions? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Calpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes.
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Orange?
Yes.
Okay, now, am I right going to Amy Wells?
Yes, you are.
All right, thank you. I have Joyce on my left and Sandy on my right, and I'm stuck in the middle with you. Okay. So, what's wrong with Ms. Wells, South Range? It's statement of candidacy is missing, and that is a fatal flaw, correct?
It is, but this is unusual.
Well, we can't have anything usual today. Go ahead.
This one is, right. She did print her petitions off online, did not pick them up from us. She circulated one cover sheet, but 3-part petitions.
So we don't have their other side to them,
Face.
correct?
You don't need the other
You don't
side.
need that.
Okay.
Let me see that.
Yeah.
Don't you have to have the face of the petition to make copies? You're gonna, you have to file the original on top and make copies of the face on it for the second set.
Yeah, there's no limit. on
I
how
don't
much
see a I mean, if she gave someone this and just said, well, go to the third page and sign your name, what's the problem with that?
Well, they were stapled here, right, Danny?
Yeah, she stapled them here.
But she said she circled them as a whole, with the cover with the 3 sheets.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, I'm not trying to influence anyone, but I don't know. Well, Joyce, what do you?
I have a problem because it's her word against what she did. And her word is she circulated them as a whole, but she stapled them here. So how do we know that she did circulate them as a whole? We
She
don't know
said
that.
it.
Yesterday, remember?
No, it's not just that she said it directly to one of our workers.
Well,
It's not like Danny is saying she said it.
I think the law says that they have to make, they can have the cover, the front sheet, they can make copies of that, but they have to file that cover, the face page with each petition, I think. I'm pretty sure on that.
All right,
Am I
so-
right, Danny, on that one? Do you remember?
Yeah.
I mean, if this was stapled and circulated, it would be fine, right?
In my
And we're
opinion,
arguing over whether someone stapled their petitions, is that my understanding of what we're debating? Someone didn't staple their petitions, and we're gonna disqualify,
No, we're debating on the cover sheet,
So they know what they're signing.
so they know what they're signing.
I understand that, but she said that she circulated them as a whole. And so Danny said, well, she stapled at the counter, and so all I said was, we're disqualifying a petition set because someone didn't have a staple. Is that what we're saying? Because I think that's what we're saying.
Can we set it aside and ask our Secretary of State representative to ask someone that?
Would either Lynn or the Secretary of State's representative like to weigh in?
But this is Amy Wells, correct?
Yeah,
Joshua A. Wells, is that her first name, is A, or
That's the
is?
circular statement. isn't it?
Okay, yeah, and I don't know. So she didn't circulate them, Joshua circulated them,
right,
correct?
right.
So,
But, I understand that's a good point, but understand what we're saying. What we're saying is, had this been stapled, it's okay. But we don't know if it was stapled or not, because it was stapled in front of Danny. It could have been stapled, and they unstapled, and then stapled again. I don't know. And so, if we disqualify this petition, we are disqualifying this petition because of a staple. Is that a true statement or not a true statement?
My question is, Amy Wells said that it was stapled, but Joshua Wells circulated it. So how do we know that Joshua Wells gave him the top cover? We don't, because Amy Wells
All right,
said that.
I don't want you to lose focus.
I'm not losing focus.
Understand what we're saying. We're saying because of a staple. That's the reason why we're disqualifying these petitions, because they weren't stapled together, right?
You might
That's
want
not why I
to go
was
into
qualified.
executive session. If
I
you go
would
into
not-
Wait, hold on, what?
If you go into executive session, I'm happy to talk to you about this.
Let's put this one aside, and let's go to the next one. In case we have to go into executive session again. Jill DeRamo, Canfield Schools, date precedes signatures, well, that's a fatal flaw.
It is, these came offline. She filled them out, and online you can fill in the top portion and then print them out.
Okay,
So she did that, and she dated them July 27th. Then at that point, she started to circulate. We feel she put the wrong date in, because the first date is July 22nd. But she couldn't have signed and printed this before the 22nd, because it was printed online, printed out, then she had to start circulating. So we think she made it, it's obvious she made an error.
Yeah, what's the difference whether it's printed or written? It's still an error and it's still a fatal flaw. I mean, if the dates of the signature precede her date, I mean, you're just saying, oh, because she printed this off, she filled in the wrong date. Well, what happens if a candidate does the same thing? And instead of putting down 7/7, they put down instead of putting down 7/7, they put down 7/17, and it's actually 7/7. We would disqualify those petitions, right? All right, so I don't think there's any difference
So
in
she
that.
filed one of these with every one of them too. Yeah.
I don't see a difference whether it's printed or written.
I guess we
date's
want to
wrong.
look at it because it's obvious she had to print those out prior to the 22nd.
She typed it, I mean, we should specify that it was typed and then printed, so you know she typed a 7 instead of a 2.
on circuit.
Okay, well, what's the difference between that and someone saying, oops, I put the wrong date on there, I didn't mean to put the date on there? Tell me what the difference between those two is. And I
Well,
agree
one
with
one,
you.
we have no proof that they actually did that. This one, I think, we know she had it printed before the 22nd, because
I don't know that. I don't know
she
that.
couldn't have circulated then filled it in.
She had a good copier.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know that. She could have had all those things signed and then printed it out.
No, you can't do that.
You
No,
can't
then
do
you
that.
wouldn't
You
have
have to-
this.
You have to type that in, I mean, there's no way to do that.
It's a
But even if you
PDF
copied it,
form.
everything would be in
Yeah.
black.
I know,
and white.
but is it asking too much to put the right date in a nominating petition? The bar is really low here.
Well, then we would probably say the same about this one and expect a cover sheet on each one if we were gonna say.
No,
it
that's a
again.
staple. There's a difference between a staple and a date. A date, if the petitioner's thing is after they sign, that is a fatal flaw. Am I correct or incorrect?
You're
You're
correct.
correct.
Then I don't care if it's typed or printed, it's a flaw.
Well, that's why we thought the board should look at it.
Is there a motion for these?
We want one more place bond.
Okay, well,
What do you wanna do, Joyce?
I don't know.
I think it's not, I think it's flawed.
All right,
Okay, so we
So-
should make a motion not to accept Jill DeRamos.
all right, is that a motion?
That's a motion.
That's a motion. Is there a second?
Who's second?
Do I smell?
Yes, you do. I'm sorry. It's overwhelming.
There's a motion made by
I'm
Sandra.
still thinking about that other one.
Hold on, we're gonna go into executive session. There's a motion made by Sandra Barger and it's seconded by Joyce Gilpesta. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the director call the roll?
Ms. Calpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes.
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Ms. Raj?
Yes.
All right, now Bryce Bond Milton trustee, dated and signed at counter.
Yes, he came in, they weren't signed or dated. He was asked, are you sure everything's correct, are you ready to file? He looked at him and knows he hadn't signed, he signed them in front of Danny, right?
Yes,
Dated him then too, didn't he?
Yeah, dated.
yes.
It just amazes me that we have this many people that want to participate in our government, and the bar is really low, and they can't do it. I just, is there a motion? There is a motion and a second, is there any discussion?
There's a motion to disqualify everyone except for Amy Wallace South.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the rest of them, and if that's the only one we gotta go in executive session
Right.
for, we'll go in executive session
Right.
for. Let's get through the rest of them. All right,
So, Ann, did we make a motion?
Joyce just did.
Okay,
And you
for
said
Brian
Bond.
Bond, okay.
is there a second? Is there a second, Ann?
Oh, not yet.
What? I thought you did
I made the
all of them.
motion.
Yeah,
Yeah, except for Amy Wallace.
yeah, Joyce did for all of them except for Amy Wells, but there's no second yet.
Okay,
So we're doing,
we need a second, so I'll
We're gonna
second.
disqualify each one except for Amy
we've
Wallace.
already disqualified the other ones.
Right.
So the only one we're voting on right now is Bryce Bond.
Did we,
I think we were doing this.
which ones do we need
So
to?
the other groups you did as a group, but,
State the Nancy numbers,
yeah.
okay.
All right, so we're gonna have one big motion that Brenda Ryder, Anthony Nicaro, Jill DeRamo, and Bryce Bond Milton, that their petitions are flawed. Is there a motion? I think there was a motion made by Joyce, am I correct, Ann?
Yes.
Is there a second to member Kale Pesta's motion?
Second.
There is a second by Sandra Bryan. Are you guys on tape tonight? Is it me or is it just? There's a second by Sandra Barger. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, when the director call the roll, please.
Ms. Calpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes.
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Ms. Raj?
Yeah.
Okay, now, let's go to, did not meet the signature requirement. There's Desati Berkey, Linda Bryant, and John McBride. DeSanta Berkey needs 150, she only had 107. Linda Bryant needed 10, she has 7. And John McBride needed 10, he has 9.
Now, the John McBride petitions we have a question that the board needs to rule on. The other two are well short of their signatures.
All right, so let's do the other two. Can we have a motion for, I guess that's pronounced DeSate? DeSate Berkeley and Linda Bryant to disqualify their petitions. We have a motion.
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Chair Sandra Barger. Is there a second?
Second.
Wow, doing good. Seconded by Bob Arndt. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Galpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes.
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Arch?
Yes.
All right, now, what do you want to say about John McBride?
John McBride needed 10 signatures, valid signatures. He turned in 10 signatures.
Okay,
We found one, it was printed. It's a Nathan Sharp. We pulled his application, which he did sign, but his printed signature does match the printed signature on,
how old's Nathan?
how's Nathan?
He was born in 88,
Yeah.
he's young. No.
Yeah, when did they stop teaching cursive writing? Because that's what they're teaching our children now. They're not teaching them cursive writing anymore. They're teaching them to print.
That's how he signed his application.
About 10 years ago.
But we've also started setting a precedent that we can determine
Right.
Right,
a
but
signer,
that
he is a
printing,
qualified elector, and I think the printed signature on his voter registration matches that of the petition. But we thought we let the board,
No, I agree with that. I mean, they're not teaching cursive writing anymore.
10
What are
years.
we gonna compare? Printing?
I mean, he was still in school,
What?
he was still in school in Christmas time.
Yes, he was.
Well, I don't know. They stopped it, I think, in the mid-90s.
No.
About 10 years.
Well, you're old.
She's young.
And I went to Strawberries for a second,
who was it?
I think that's a good suggestion.
for a bit, for a minute.
All right, so we're just gonna accept that one then, right? We don't have to worry about that one?
So
yes.
All right.
Accept that.
Now, Stephen Morvan, wrong petition forms and numbers of signatures is not filled out.
Yeah, the statement of the circulator is filled out, but he didn't put the number of signatures in, but he used the wrong petition forms. Although
All right.
it does contain the right information.
What?
Did he receive the petitions from us?
No, online.
Okay.
All right. Well, is there a motion to disqualify Stephen Morvan's petitions?
So moved.
Okay, there's a motion made by Sandra Barber. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Joyce Kilpesta. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Galpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes.
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Arch?
Yes.
All right, now barrel 33, the information was added to the front of a petition at the counter at the time of file.
That must be a difficult option or something.
Yeah, it's the barrel 33 in Springfield Township 5. Everything checked out, but he did fill out all the information.
Well, that's a fatal flaw.
Right.
Yes.
Is there a motion to disqualify barrel 33?
This is an option.
Liquor option, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Go ahead, Bob.
Seconded by Bob Arndt. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Calpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes.
Ms. Barger?
Yes,
Mr. Arch?
Yes.
All right.
this is the Floyd one.
All right, do we have a motion to go into executive session to get advice from our legal counsel?
So moved.
Okay, Joyce has made a motion to go into executive session to have a discussion with our lawyer
We finish that?
about a,
Yes, yes. Yes, we did.
what did I do wrong?
No, the folder was just over here.
I'm okay
It was,
now.
we're good.
Thank you. You and Joyce keep me
Okay.
straight down over. All right, there's a motion to go into executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Sandra Barber. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Scarpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Peaches?
Yes.
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Ms. Raj?
Yes.
All right. Qualify the petitions of Amy Wells. Is there such a motion on the floor?
There is a motion.
There is a motion made by Sandra Barger. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by member Cale Pesta. Is there any discussion? Well, I want to say something. I don't want to say what our lawyer said, but we looked at our own directives from the Secretary of State, and we determined that each petition has to have that cover page on it. And that's the reason why. Now, people are permitted to make their own petitions, and it could have 1,000 signatures and be 6 feet long. But if you have a separate page with separate signatures, that cover sheet has to be on it. That's what we discussed, that's what the directive is, and that's why we're gonna vote now on her petitions. Having a motion laid on the floor and a seconded, do we now have, could the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Scarpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Peaches?
Yes.
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Ms. Raj?
Yes.
Okay, now, we have another issue.
We have to just certify the rest of the candidates to the ballot, and this is the final list, David.
Okay,
Minus the ones we disqualified.
so we're just gonna do these on blank, right?
Yes.
So, must we mention each one's name, or?
We never have in the past.
All right, so the chair will now recognize a motion to certify the remaining candidates and the remaining liquor options and the remaining mills and all the other things to the ballot. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion made by member Cale Pesta. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bob Arndt. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Scarpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Peaches?
Yes.
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Ms. Raj?
Yes.
All right, now, where's that one petition? Where's that one thing that got addressed? It has been brought to the Board of Elections' attention that Million Perry Pfeiffer, is that, am I saying that right?
Correct.
Million Perry Pfeiffer, there are a couple of different addresses for him, so the board, do we have a motion to sua sponte set this for a hearing? Sua sponte means, in Latin, it's a legal term meaning on our own accord. On our own accord, we are setting a hearing to determine if that is a correct address. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion made by Sandra Barger. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bob Arndt. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Scarpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Peaches?
Yes.
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Ms. Raj?
Yes.
If I haven't made it clear, I will once again lay on the floor the liquor petitions. Do we have a motion to certify the liquor petitions? I thought we did it, but I've been told we didn't, so is there a motion to certify the liquor petitions?
So moved.
There's a motion made by Sandra Barger. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by member Cale Pesta. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Scarpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Peaches?
Yes.
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Ms. Raj?
Yes.
All right, now we're gonna go to our agenda items. I think,
Certify the issues?
I thought we did all those.
You did the candidates and liquid options the first time, the docket issues.
We did the liquor options first and not the
I think you
mills.
said it in one sentence and maybe it didn't.
I did. I could have sworn I said it in one, but I get corrected all the time, so let's just go back and do it so I do it right. Okay, can we have a motion for the issues for the November 7th, 2023 ballot?
So moved.
There's a motion made by Sandra Barger. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bob Arndt. Are there any questions? Hearing none, the director would please call the roll.
Ms. Scarpesta?
Yes.
Attorney Peaches?
Yes.
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Ms. Raj?
Yes.
Okay,
Do you want to set the time for that, Karen?
well, we have a hearing
We have-
set.
We have that meeting.
Right, but you didn't say.
Okay. Thank you. I haven't had enough people correct me today. Can we have a motion to set the hearing for the petition on August 28th, 2023 at 3 PM?
So moved.
It's moved by Joyce Kilpesta. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Sandra Barger. Is there any discussion? Would the director call the roll?
Ms. Calpesta,
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice,
Yes.
Ms. Barger.
Yes.
Mr. Art.
Yes.
Can I have a motion to schedule our next special regular meeting by the Mahoning County Board of Elections for the primary election certification on August 28th, 2023 at 3 PM in the boardroom of the Mahoning County Board of Election Offices at 345 Oak Hill Avenue, Youngstown, Ohio? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Joyce Kilpesta. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob Arndt. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Calpesta, Attorney Beatrice.
Yes.
Ms. Barger.
Yes.
Mr. Art.
Okay, now it's my favorite time. I would now entertain a motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Vice Chair,
Oh, we didn't
one-
do-
There weren't any public comments. I said it back.
would anyone like to make a public comment? Is there anything else I'm missing, Joyce?
I didn't
Is there
say
anything
public
else I'm missing, Sam?
I didn't-
Is there anything else I'm missing?
Actually, I don't
Melissa,
have
is there anything else?
Is there any
What?
way that you guys can just give out the number of liquor petitions and the candidates, or the petitions for candidacy and options?
We'll have those ready and after Danny takes off.
Oh, okay, cool. That's it.
I'd like to,
Wait,
Oh, on the 28th, we have two board meetings? That's what I'm trying to say.
no.
No, we moved
One
it to 3
meeting.
o'clock, 3 PM.
3 PM, we're gonna have the hearing.
Both of
for
them,
the-
okay.
Both of them at this
Same
time.
time, repeat.
3 p.m.
Anything else? Am I missing anything? Anyone? No? Can I move to adjourn now? Am I allowed to ask for a motion to adjourn? So moved. Vice Chairwoman Sandra Barger makes a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bob Arndt. Thank you. Aren't you the very special man? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Calpesta.
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice.
Yes.
Ms. Barger.
Yes.
Mr. Art.
Yes.
This meeting is hereby adjourned.